Hi, Marty from Waukesha Floral and Greenhouse, and today we're going to talk about some flower processing. When we get our flowers in from all across the world, they come to us in refrigerated cases. So we're going to open this box up and show you how these guys come in. Today we have a box full of roses that come with ice on them, so they're always staying cool, and they all come dry packed and in their container like this. Now, Real Roses is a great brand that we carry at Waukesha Floral. Has a large petal count on your roses and a really superior rose to most other roses. I'm going to show you how we process these. Let's go take a look. Okay, so here we have our roses. We're going to unwrap those, and this is probably not the most glamorous side of the flower industry, but we're going to show you how we process these flowers. Very important to the longevity of our flowers. So we're going to unwrap these first. And as you can see, the roses are all a graded rose, so they're all going to be the same height and size. They just have them staggered in the container here for shipping purposes, but they're all going to be the same grade of rose. When you get flowers in, they are dry packed, and when they're dry packed, we need to hydrate them again. But to hydrate them, you got to do a couple steps first. The first step we're going to go to is you need to remove some of the foliage that's on here, because one of the main things that lessens the lifespan of your flowers is that the foliage would get into the water and it fouls the water and creates bacteria, and you have issues like that. So we need to strip that off of these, and for that we use this Olamex machine. It's a little bit loud, but it takes the foliage and some of the thorns off, and basically we're just putting that in there, and it's gently just caressing the stems and pulling some of the thorns and leaves off of there, okay? So you end up with more of a product that has a little bit less on it. I'm just going to use that side for now. The other side gets a little bit noisier and we won't be able to hear. But after we get done with that, what we want to do is you have to cut these on an angle. Now you can do that a couple different ways. You can do it, by hand, just with a knife. You cut on an angle like that with a nice sharp knife. That is going to give you maximum water uptake for your flowers. But what we do here when we have a lot of flowers is we use a cutting device here that will cut bunches at a time. So this has got a knife blade in it. We stick this in here. It goes into a pool of water right here, and then we just guillotine off the stems like that. So it just cuts the stems off on the angle that we need, okay? And you're gonna say, well, why are you cutting it in water? The reason we're cutting it in water is because when you make a cut underwater, it leaves water on the end of the stem immediately when you cut it. With that, you don't get an air bubble on there, okay? And if you have an air bubble on there, it won't allow the water to transfer up into the stem. So what we're going to do with that then is we look over every rose individually, and there are what are called guard petals. Petals that might have a little bit of damage on them are left on at the farm, so that is a cushioning for the flower. So we go through, we pull off the couple guard petals that are on there, and you're left with a really premium rose, okay? The key for you to remember when you're taking your flowers home is start with a clean container. These containers are washed and scrubbed after every use, as your vase at home should be too. You want to really soap this up, suds it up, and make sure it is really clean. The next thing to do is to use a preservative solution. In this bucket I've filled it up with a nice tepid, warm water solution that has food in it, a floral food. What we use is Floral Life floral food, and this is a real good industry standard. It has a sugar base in it. It has got a chlorine product in there that will stop bacteria growth but yet feed the flowers. So after you've cut it, you put it into your water and you let it rehydrate, okay, which is very important. We don't put these right out on the floor for sale. They have to sit for a while to rehydrate and plump up and get their moisture back into their flowers. And it's pretty much the same with all the different flowers that we deal with. These Gerbera daisies too, it's the same kind of thing. They don't come with foliage, so we don't need to do that step, but we do underwater cut them, and then they are actually put into a grid system here because they need to hang for their stems to stay straight until they have drunk that water up. Once they get the water, then they'll stay nice and firm and stay straight. And all the other flowers too are pretty much the same kind of process. So a little bit about flower processing today. Make sure you have a clean vase. Make sure you use a little bit of that flower food that we send along with them. That'll keep your flowers looking good for a long time.
Waukesha Floral and Greenhouse. Fresh, fun, fabulous.